Good morning. Good morning, all. Today, on Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, we bring you more craziness from the apocalypse.
Good morning.
Good to see you guys. I decided to not wear a hat today. I thought this was actually looking pretty cool. I'm probably wrong about that, but I'm working on an experiment about growing my field, my egoic field. Since I've been live streaming, it's actually an interesting experiment for me about self-confidence, because I'm sort of just like, I certainly will write down notes throughout the day, but I'm just sort of, free wing it. There's no editing here. It's every day. And I know that the day will come again that I will say something horribly wrong. And that's one concern. But then on top of that is this other concern about how I look, what my personal appearance looks like. And I found that there's a breach in my shield sometimes, which has to do with my head. And so I will put on a hat just to so I can ignore that part of it and just focus more on my content, my delivery. And that's all great and whatever. This is not, I think that if we focus on our personal appearance, really what we're doing is we're showing for respect for people around us. I have no beef with that. I get that. It took me a while to learn that lesson, I will admit, but I actually understand that's good, that pruning is a sign of health and vitality and all that stuff, okay? It's more about that the pruning it is also, for me, a covering of holes in my egoic shell. So anyway, all that said, third day wearing this shirt. I'm going to see if you guys notice. I'm not going to say anything about it, but if you guys notice that, plus with the no hat, I'm thinking that today's a great day to push some territory. Plus, on top of that, I'm pretty sure this video is going to be demonetized just by the thumbnail. If not that, the title itself is probably going to be sort of adding to that. So I figured if there was ever an opportunity where I could push the limits for my own behalf, that this would be the stream to do it. And since we are surrounded by idiocy right now, as the Black Lives Matter blossoms, it's why not, right? It's the apocalypse. Now's the time to try new things. Now's the time to embrace a new paradigm. It's a beautiful, beautiful day. It's a Thursday, and I'm glad you guys are here. Does someone want to tell me what the metal is today? I just don't. I don't think I need to look it up. I think that one of you guys should probably know what that is. I know yesterday was Quicksilver, right? I think, yeah, because yesterday was the planet Mercury, but the element Quicksilver. Today is Thursday. Do not know the element. We'll let you guys hash it out in chat. I am going to play y'all a video that was just sent to me. And let's take a look. Turn this on. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to hit play.
Why are you guys removing Black Lives Matters graffiti?
We're just trying to take care of it. Yeah, we tried over there and it wasn't coming off. It's still one of those coming off.
But why do you want that to come off?
Well, because this is a federal building. Yeah, it's just the vandalism.
But so you don't care about Black lives
Not
then?
at all. That's not at all what we're saying.
That's what this,
We certainly do care about Black lives.
not enough to leave up a message.
We don't disagree with the message, ma'am. It's just on the building. We're just trying to clean it.
Right. Not a great way to use your white privilege, ladies. Not a great. That's disgusting.
It's disgusting to clean up graffiti. And that's where we're at now. That's where we're at, because if you clean up graffiti, you are a racist. You are racist. And the new definition of racist is one who does not have a fetish for black people. And that's what I'm hoping to prove today. I'm hoping to prove today that the new definition of what is racist is not to repeat myself, but one who does not have a fetish for black people. Now, a fetish is something that develops inside of your psychology. When you are brought up, you develop a dependency on things in your environment, as simple as food, water, sleep, but also social, acceptance, any kind of play, any kind of recreation, any kind of bonding that happens with you and your community. And when something is taken away from you, you develop an addiction to what you thought you needed to survive. And when I say thought you needed, that includes things that you need to survive. You see, it's built from your belief that, hey, I needed that to survive, and you've taken it away from me. That's what turns it into a fetish, all right? We have sexual fetishes. We have sugar fetishes, right? Food fetishes. We have alcohol fetishes. We have, some people have adrenaline fetishes. Some people have expose fetishes. Some of us have success fetishes. Some of us have money fetishes. All of those have been the result of someone having that thing and it being taken away from them. It develops a core chest wound. It's a sucking chest wound inside you, and you end up developing a fetish. Now, if you grew up in America, your entire life, you've been told, hey man, you're not black. Hey man, you wouldn't understand. Hey, there's no way you have any right suggesting, thinking, considering, or putting yourself into a compassionate relationship with this black person. You can't do it. And some of you might be going, well, that's impossible. The entire racism movement is about showing compassion for black people. No, it's not. It is not about that at all. This is fetish installation, right? This is how you install a fetish. You tell someone you can never have a relationship with a black person. You tell someone that it would be impossible for you to ever bond in any kind of intrinsic way because no matter what, you are always going to emanate a vibration of racist from you. It's part of your lack of melanin. It's actually a lack in you. It's your lack of melanin, so you're not able to even grasp how viciously broken you are from this lack of melanin. In fact, for you to try, for you to attempt to clean up any kind of misunderstandings, you're the racist. And that's why I'm telling you, what was really happening around the world is that we were requiring a fetish for black people. And a fetish for black people requires you placing that black person on a pedestal. And when you place them on a pedestal, you get to treat them like total shit. You can do whatever you want to do. You could say whatever you want to say about them. You can think whatever you want to think about them because you've placed them on a pedestal. And that is exactly what both parties, both political parties do every single day inside Washington. Both of these systems require a scapegoat, a dead body. They require a head placed on a pike outside the gates to show everyone in the land how compassionate they are. What is that? Oh, those are my black people heads. That shows you that I'm really concerned about black people because I put their heads on a pike outside. That's what we've done in America. It's been our entire purpose this whole time. I got 2 super chats. Thank you. One was from a bear, just disappeared. Oh, Duck Bear, thank you. Just a thank you. And one came before we started. Nevertheless, Bear. True love. Thanks. Thanks, Bears. The worst thing you could do for race relations is to push Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is a white fetish for black people. That's what Black Lives Matter means. It means I have a fetish for black people. And having a fetish for something is not showing it respect. It's the opposite of showing it respect, right? How many times have we said this? Pedestal, right? Either way, it's going to suck. They're going to suck for different reasons. The pedestal's going to suffer because no one is going to think he's suffering. The pit's going to suffer because everyone assumes that's all there is suffering. There's no way. There's no way out of this fetish requirement in Babylon. If you're going to be in Babylon, you're going to have to fetishize black people. That's the only option you have. Do you understand? Nothing else is acceptable. And this lady in the car is showing you that.
Why are you guys removing Black Lives Matters graffiti?
We're just trying to take care of it. Yeah, we tried over there and it wasn't coming off. It's still one of those coming off.
But why do you want that to come off?
Well, because this is a federal building. Yeah, it's just a vandalism.
A fetish is when you start to do other things that are unhealthy to perpetuate your addiction. Fetishes require you to abandon your own sense of right and wrong, your own morality, your own compass to appease the fetish, right? If you have a fetish for sugar, you're going to eat like shit. If you have a fetish for sex, you're going to do the cleaning lady that you met at a hotel down, whatever. All of our fetishes are going to require us to abandon our morality, to abandon our moral compass, and do something that we shouldn't do. In daylight, in broad daylight. And every single piece of this has been installed not because the evil overlords are clever. It's because white people are so stupid about it. And I'd like to talk about that stupidity. I'd like for us to unwrap the fetish for black people. The thumbnail in today's video is a file photo from CNN, from their website. Not only that, they ran a 4-part special hosted by Don Lemon, showcasing photos like that thumbnail, showcasing blackface and painting it as an evil scourge that exists. They're allowed to show you these pictures in every airport in the country because everyone's forced to watch CNN when you walk in the airport. If you didn't know that, there's actually a contract for there. Every single outlet wants you to see blackface so you will understand how bad it is. So you'll understand how bad you are. And the reason for that is because media is a two-armed vehicle for propaganda. In Hollywood, you have everyone that's not racist. These are the rich people. These are the ones that are above you. These are the ones that have evacuated themselves and are willing to read any script that's given to them. That's the definition of an actor, right? The actor is the golden child because the actor follows the script. The audience is the scapegoat because the audience doesn't follow the script well enough. The audience has to be scolded with shame, and the best way to do that is to praise the actor with fame. It's a difference, right? It's one thing to push down everyone in the pit. They'll feel, oh, I feel a little down. But it's quite another to push it down as you elevate something else. How does it feel down here? How does it feel up here? Is this equality? Is this racial equality? Well, it's an equal sign, so it must be, right? It's logic fetish sets in. And the reason why we have this is because we have we've told each other that blind empathy is compassion. We've made up this thing called blind empathy, and we give it to each other. It's called being nice. It's called everyone deserves to be trusted, as if they've never told a lie. Everyone deserves the generous Christian opening of the doors, right? A place at the table. Everyone deserves to be treated as if they are a nice person that has done well in the world. And I'm not here to bash that. I'm here to tell you that it causes blind empathy. It creates a social structure where it's okay and encouraged to be blindly nice to people. And it sounds all great, but then you end up with people that want to take advantage of that. And the reason why they're able to take advantage of that is because blind empathy is like blind allegiance. And if you're ready for a giant board in the face of irony, blind allegiance is slavery. Blind empathy equals blind allegiance equals slavery. Which means that Black Lives Matter is a white fetish for slavery. This is not a reach. This is not a guess. We're going to go over this. This is part of the system that we have all asked for. It has not been forced on us. We have asked for this system to run in our heads. We've asked for this system to be installed in our children so they will develop a fetish for black people too. Blind empathy. You're never even taught that word in school because it's built into the fabric of the propaganda all around you. It's a secretion that comes from you. If you want to participate in society, you're going to have to be blindly empathic. This is why street beggars are prolific. They are feeding on blind empathy. There are so many systems in place. Most charities profiteer on blind empathy. It is a vortex that one can feed in. And I told you yesterday that looting is for poor people and pillaging is for rich people. And blind empathy works the same way. One can beg on the street, or one can beg in front of the Supreme Court. Both are utilizing blind empathy. Both are capitalizing on your desire to fit into society, on your desire to be accepted by everyone around you. And the reason why you have a desire to be accepted by everyone around you is because your ego is not strong enough. That's why. And it's not strong enough because you've been told, hey man, ego is bad. And the more you learn to work on this, the more you learn to find this truth, the more you realize that blind empathy is the opposite of compassion, the stronger your ego glows. You glow that. You glow that confidence. Why? Because you are deeply in touch with your compassion. You are so in touch with your compassion that when other people try and extract it from you blindly, you say, fuck you. No, I'm saving this compassion. I'm saving this for someone that really needs it. My friend Scott was in the hospital yesterday. I want him to have this compassion. And when I bring it to him, I don't want to say that it was in the back of Dunkin' Donuts having oral sex with the cashier. Because that's what you're doing when you're giving out the blind empathy. You're distributing it to anyone who comes along. And when you distribute it to anyone who comes along, we end up with a red light district of blind empathy whores. And it's not just in racism, it's in everything. Every aspect of our life is surrounded by blind empathy whores. Dr. Ford is a blind empathy whore. And she's not actually at fault. It's our propensity and willingness to grant her blind empathy without any kind of investigation. That's who's the fault. Why? Because you're giving your prana of belief. You're taking all of that electrical energy and you're saying here. And you're doing that only because you're seeing the vibration around you and you're sensing everyone would really, really think that I was compassionate if I was to blindly give it to Dr. Ford. And I will make this post. How dare you? How dare you? How dare you? Right? I will make that post because I want to suck from the teat of blind empathy and bring all those likes down onto me. And this is the system that we've installed around us. And this is the system that we teach our children to grow from. This is why society wants us all speaking the same language. This is why... I'm sorry, I gotta time this guy out. This is why we've created this system. This is why we speak the same emotional language. Not just language, but emotional language. This is why there are holidays when you can come in and everyone gets to feel like shit in unison. That's what it is. Sodomy Month, which has now been overridden with Black Anarchy Month, but Black Fetish Month, that's it. Yep. We've gone from Sodomy Fetish Month to Black Fetish Month. How does that feel, Mr. Black person? Dear zeitgeist of black people, how does it feel that you were second to Sodomy Fetish Month? How does that feel? Because to me, it feels like that's a shitty thing to happen, and I would not like to have that happen to you. I will go out on a limb to say this is fucked up. I've been doing that a while. I'll keep doing it because I want to make it expensive. That's our job. We have to make this expensive. That it's the only action we truly have, right? We have our compassion, which is a much more powerful weapon, but we also have the ability to make something expensive. It's really all you have when it comes to this psychic real estate. Because this is all psychic real estate. When you sit in the color black, you feel the emotion of that color. And that emotion is charged by all the zeitgeist around you. When you sit in the color orange, you were bombarded with Trump in that color, whether you like it or not. You will at some point encounter Trump inside that color. At some point, you will find that there. This is real estate, archetypal real estate. And that's what Black Lives Matter is if anyone sees all black, I need them to have a fetish for black people. And as long as you have a fetish for black people, when I say shit like this, it gets really hard. This is Candace Owens. And when she was in high school, she sued the Board of Education because a senator's son, or a mayor's son, called her a racial epitaph, and it hurt her feelings. So she sued the school board. And it cost taxpayers $63,000 because someone called her a name. She's profiting off your blind empathy. She built her entire political career off blind empathy. Everyone in Washington, D.C. builds their career off your blind empathy. And the reason why I tell you that Washington, D.C. is not a place that will ever, 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 ever save you is because Washington, D.C. is not broken. It was made as a playground for blind empathy narcissistic psychopaths to come in and profiteer off them. From Dr. Ford to Candace Owens. Please note, these are completely different sides of the aisle, or they claim to be. And the moment I posted this morning, I was unfollowed by someone who goes, I just can't accept this. I can't accept this, James. This is just, I can't believe you. As if I was the one that wrote this story, or I was the one that decided, hey, I can cash in right now. Or if I was the one that cashed in and then noticed I could build an entire career out of calling people racist. But James, she's black. I know. And I don't have black people on a pedestal. That's why in the middle of Black Lives Matter, under a thumbnail that exposes CNN's use of blackface, under a title that says Fetish for Black People, I'm showcasing Candace Owens. Yep. Because I want you to see what she is. Excuse me. She's this guy. She's Lance Armstrong. How is Candace Owens Lance Armstrong? Because they're both more concerned about winning than they are about having compassion. And we've created that because we are living in the world where Athena has been subdued. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, has been subdued by Nike. Tiny little gods standing in her hand that's tempting her with laurels on her crown. And when you have victory, you have the quickening. There could be only one. And when you have there could be only one, we get to establish a seating chart based off melanin. And then we get to tell each other, you have a good black fetish. I like your black fetish. I love the way you spray painted your black fetish all over that statue. It's Andre, Super Chat. Awesome streams, James. Clearing the media perception for the minds of many. Just supporting what I like. Keep crushing, bro. Thank you so much, guys. You guys freaking rock. Now, I showcase Candace Owens because she has proceeded into D.C. the same way Lance Armstrong proceeded into the Tour de France. I'm actually getting ready to show them both sympathy. Check this shit out. We made Lance Armstrong. We made Candace Owens. We made Dr. Ford. We made white girls getting shit for cleaning graffiti. White guys did that. We did all that. Because we said, we want the best of the best. We don't give a shit who's wise. We don't want to support wise Tour de Francers. We don't want to support wise politicians. We don't want to support wise Supreme Court justices. We don't want to support wise action. We only want winners. And Candace knows how to win. She knows how to fucking win. Candace started a site called Social Autopsy. It was a site dedicated to tattletales. it was basically you had a social credit score that Candace Owens assigned to you. Everyone in America would be assigned a social credit score, and then you were allowed to pay Social Autopsy to log in and talk shit about someone. And you were encouraged to upload notes proving how racist they were, proving how sexist they were, proving how the social Nazis needed to come and fix this person. And this is the darling of the Republican Party right now. Someone who spent $63,000 of your tax money because someone called her a bad word. And she took that money and she went on to start a site called Social Autopsy. A business of killing people socially with their reputation. And she's climbed on the back of Black Lives Matter because you said, hey, is there a charismatic black lady who's willing to step up to the plate? We've created this giant parade float, and we need a black chick on top. Is there a black chick? Is there a black chick in a wheelchair? Because that would be freaking awesome. Is there a Jewish black chick in a wheelchair? Because that would be amazing. And each of them compete for King of Blind Empathy Mountain. And we don't even have that word, blind empathy. We don't even have it. So we end up with these street gangs. We end up with vandalism. And we asked for every bit of it. Guys, we are ruled by this. This is what rules white people right now. Podcasters, you're looking at the Evergreen Gang. It's how do I describe these people? It's the students from Evergreen, and they're all holding baseball bats. And it's showing you. It's actually not showing you how pathetic they are. It's showing you how pathetic white people have become, because this is who rules us. This is who rules white men that have a fetish for black people. These people are in charge of them. And this is what we do to ourselves. And I'm going to tell you something. If you get down on your knees every day to suck the black fetish cock psyop, how holy are you when you get down on your knees to pray to God? How does that feel for God to know that the last time you were on your knees, you were sucking a psyop's schlong? Because that's what blind empathy is, isn't it? It's blind allegiance. Which means these guys get to come up and say, hey man, suck some BLM cock right now. And you'll do it. I couldn't find this video, but Owen Benjamin played a video yesterday of this girl. She was out running with a mask, white girl. I'm not making this up. I'm sorry I don't have the video. I'm not making this up. Please look it up. Prune my lips all you want, but I'm not making this up. A black person comes up and stops her. He's got a camera on him. He's pointing the camera at her. And when he stops her, she gets kind of scared because I guess she's afraid of black people. And he aims the camera at her and he goes, I work for Black Lives Matter. And I've been asked by my boss to come out here and ask if there's anyone who's willing to get down on their knees and pledge allegiance to Black Lives Matter. And she gets down on her knees. And she buys the blind empathy. And she gives her blind allegiance. And she falls into the slavery of Black Lives Matter. And she will never be the same. She will never be the same from that. She was... Hear me out. Hear me out. Just bear with me here. I'm going to say this. She was raped. She was raped a long time ago by white people. She was raped by a textbook. She was raped by the New York Times telling her over and over again how shitty she was. And when she went to school, no one told her. No one decided to sit her down and say, hey, slave comes from the word Slav. 300,000 white people were sold into slavery in the 17th and 18th century and sent to America and traded like a commodity. No one ever told her that. And if you look this up on Google, you're going to see 20 links from New York Times telling you it's not true. But then you're going to find scholarly books that tell you it is true. But you're not going to find those on the first 3 pages. And the same New York Times that told you there were babies in incubators, the same New York Times that told you there were WMDs, the same New York Times that told you how racist you are, is also telling you there was no such thing as white slavery. And right now, there are 7 million people living in slavery around the world. And not one of these BLM people has said a word about that yesterday or the day before. They had their mouth covered with a mask. They don't have a problem with slavery. They have a problem with not getting their white fetish, their Black Lives Matter fetish. And that's been distributed by taking it away from everyone, by saying you cannot relate to black people. You can't do it. And you develop a fetish for it. What happened in the Prohibition? When we banned alcohol, we invented the cocktail. That's what happened. What happens when you ban being compassionate for black people? You develop a fetish for it. You look for opportunities to be compassionate for it. And you end up giving $63,000 of your taxes for it. And you end up where you can't even read Huckleberry Finn in a library anymore. Because of how fucked up you are as a white person. You gotta have that fetish, boy. You gotta have that fetish for black people. That's the only way to show respect for them. And it's why when I lived in Asheville, I was surrounded by people that were all over this Black Lives Matter thing. And I slowly noticed they had a sexual fetish for black people. And I don't really think that that's actually the best way to preach equality or to have compassion. I think it's kind of fucked up. And I think we're going to keep making Candace Owens and Dr. Ford and graffiti, right? Have you seen how much graffiti is here now because of last night? And no one knows shit about Floyd, the dude that died. No one knows shit about him. No one cares. No one cares. They see an opportunity like seagulls to feed. Who's more compassionate? Who's more compassionate? Who's more compassionate, right? Hate laws make all this legal. They pay incentives for it. Hate laws make Candace Owens win cases like this. This is what hate laws create psychopathic, narcissistic politicians that come to Washington. You know she's running for Congress, right? She could run for president. The person that started Social Autopsy could run for president, and 56 million white people will get down on their knees and ask her to put a strap-on just so they can suck it, so they could feel less bad. And she loves that stuff because she's a winner. This is a world made for winners. That's why Lord Technology is a gift of all. Because we live in a realm that's made for winners. And that winner's going to develop. People that override wisdom with victory are going to win. It's going to happen every time. It's built into our system. It's built into our system because we have to learn what compassion truly is. We have to understand what blind empathy truly is. We have to see through the bullshit. But it requires ego. Requires ego because everywhere you go, you're going to get called a racist. And if you don't have enough strength, that's going to bother you. It's going to bother you like the top of my fucking head. If I don't have enough ego, it's going to bother me. I'm going to lose strength for it every single day, and there's nothing I can do about it. You could shave your head. No, it doesn't count. I've tried that. It doesn't count. All of us are here to work on our egoic field, to make it as healthy and strong as we can. But we've been told by the same people that told you, Dr. Ford, her hippocampus was raped. Or Candace Owens, I was called a bad name. Or you're racist for cleaning up graffiti. All of these jump right into our shell. They dive right in, right past our electrical field and hit us hard. Until we can expose our issues and go out in public and claim our power again. Nigger. There's no such thing as N-word. The word is nigger. And if you say that out loud, you're not hurting black people. You're gaining real empathy. You're shedding blind empathy. And you're denying access to real estate in your fucking mind. That means whenever you say the word N or the N-word or the word nigger, that you get to feel shitty about yourself. And that's why you practice. That's why you say that word. And you go, wow, that felt weird. That felt weird. It felt weird to say the nigger word. Just like me going, oh, that feels weird. Man, that feels weird. All of this emotional uncomfort that you have about all this stuff in society, it's a freaking huge gift for you. It's a huge gift of all. When you, if you, sometimes your pants feel tight. Sometimes your pants feel tight. And it feels more comfortable to undo your button. And you tell yourself, it's because I'm fat. No, it's because your energetic field is tight right here. It's tight right there. And you don't like that you're feeling constricted. You have a weakness there. You have an energetic weakness there. And it gives you comfort to unbutton the button, but it doesn't help. It doesn't solve it. All it does is give you comfort. It numbs the pain from it. Expose this stuff. I'm not telling you to open the window and yell it. I think it would be awesome when we can get there. But it's not about you doing it with other people. It's about you doing it to yourself. It's saying, I trust you. It's going in the mirror and saying, I trust you. I think you're a compassionate person. I also don't think that you apply compassion based on melanin. The word is nigger. That's all. The word is nigger. And I can look at sharecropping, timeshares, indentured servants, slaves, contracts, all the systems that were in place that have been here since Rome. And I see a colossal history and future of slavery, still alive today. And I am going to apply compassion to slavery even. I'm going to see if I can have an aperture that looks at slavery and go, how is this not evil? And I can find one. Holy fuck. I can find one. I can find compassion for slavery. How does that work? And I'm a white guy. Holy shit. Man, I am pushing boundaries, right? The reason why I can find compassion for slavery is because so many white people want to be slaves. They don't want to have to be awkwardly presented with an opportunity where they have to say the word nigger. They would rather just give away their blind empathy. Go, here's $1, here's $1, here's $1, here's $1. Hey, homeless guy, here's $20. I just don't want to feel bad about myself. That's all. I just don't want to feel bad about myself, so I'm going to give you $20. That's what blind empathy is. Boom. 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 Sorry. All of that only works because we live in an economy of blind empathy. And what is blind empathy? I already said it's slavery, but what is slavery? It's evacuation. And the reason why we have slavery is not because it's evil, it's because we come from a land of evacuation. It's true. As we grow up, we lose pieces of ourselves. We splinter ourselves. We have issues where we feel abandoned, and the reason why we feel abandoned is because we abandon ourselves, right? Trauma happens, shit happens, we were misunderstood, someone called us a racist, whatever. We abandon ourselves in pieces on the road. And as we abandon ourselves, we want to feel like we could have been more compassionate to our own essence. And because we want to feel like we're more compassionate, we look for opportunities where the outside world will make us feel more compassionate. Do you remember my talk about reputation versus pride? For the half of youth that thought that was so confusing and you still don't get it, maybe this will help. Because if you're going to feel less racist because someone outside of you makes you feel that way, if you're going to feel more generous because someone outside of you made you feel that way, you have a hole and you are not helping yourself. You are hurting yourself by saying the N-word. You are covering your baldness. You are unbuttoning your pants without actually looking at the energy underneath it. And this is the lesson of Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter has nothing to do with black people, does it? Does it? Think about it. Out of all the people in the world, who would have less to learn from Black Lives Matter than black people? Don't you think they would like to be treated as humans? It's fucked for me even to say what I just said. But that's what comes with this narrative. That's what comes with this blind empathy. You end up with shit like this. With Dr. Ford raising her hand, looking up to God. And you run the entire country this way, with one story. And when you wake up the next morning and the entire country is graffitied, you're torn over, wait, is she being racist or is she being compassionate? I'm so confused. And so you don't say anything because you don't have enough ego. You don't have that energetic field to spend. Ego means you're willing to spend what it takes to be yourself. You're willing to take some jabs. If someone was to say something about my balding head, for example, I would have the ego to deal with it. This is a silly example, by the way. It's honestly, it's kind of superficial for me now. So I don't even mean to present it like it's a big deal for me. I will say that maybe 10, 15 years ago, it was really bothering me. It was because I was much weaker in my ego then. I thought ego was a bad word then. I thought that your energetic, charismatic field, the thing that emanates from your heart, what is your heart always doing? It feels like it's always pumping, but what it's really doing is it's pushing and stop and saying, here's where I want my energy field. I want it to be right here, 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 right here. And you're forming this constant And you're told you got to drain your ego. You got to drop that ego. You got to check that ego. And every time you say that to someone, I've noticed that the person you say it to actually has a lack of ego, that what they really want is some compassion. But we tell them, no, you need to drop that ego. That's the problem. The problem is you think too highly of yourself. And that's exactly the opposite of what the case is. Now, I get that we don't want to help anyone, so we'll just say, no, it's all about ego. And we don't want to help anyone because we don't have enough ego. We don't have enough generosity to give that other person. We're not able to see that And if no one else gave us that, because we don't have enough ego, we're not willing to give it to someone else, because that's not how we were treated. Just because, thanks, Watcher Bear. Another bear super chat. Just because, thank you for your work. I pray that God keeps providing you with wisdom. Thank you. I love Dojo Earth. I love what God has made for us here. All the bad shit, all the vaccines, all the evil stuff, all the grabblers, all the crabs, all the Candace Owens, all the Dr. Fords, all the lies, all the narcissism, all the baldness, all the heartbreak, all the pain, all the addiction, all the sugar rushes, all the crushing, all the being crushed. This place is freaking fabulous because we get to explore all these topics. Earth Dojo is the kiddie pool, and we're allowed to pee in it. And there's a reason why adults don't come in the kiddie pool. It's not because they don't love kids. It's because they're like, I'm not getting in that kiddie pool. I'm not. It's like Babe Ruth bars floating around in there. That's what Earth Dojo is. And when you have blind empathy, when you have blind compassion, you're wearing those arm waders, and you're swimming around in piss, and you're thinking those arm waders are going to save you. So you plug your nose, and you're like, as you're licking, trying to breathe, and all that water's coming in your mouth, and you're like, I got rid of all that pee. This is great. You tell Crow Strauss that I recommend Ego for baldness. I think Ego is a much better style than apricot oil. In fact, I would say that it's the antithesis of apricot oil. But all of us are going to have our own techniques. All of us are going to decide, this is how I'm going to deal with this. Right? I'm going to cure it. I don't want to. Why would I cure it? Doesn't this make me who I am? Doesn't this challenge me in ways that you guys haven't been challenged, just like you've been challenged in ways that I haven't been challenged? Instead, there's this shame quotient that's like, you should just shave it off. You should just shave it off is what you should do. It'll just be better for everyone, right? It could be. It could be that the most beautiful woman in the world finally says, James, you're my guy. I'd like to help you groom. And maybe we'll have that discussion. I don't know. But I like the challenge that this gives me. And personally, I like the antenna. I like the fact that I have hair that's picking up on signals that my skin can't. I think it's important. Thanks for the super chat, Benjamin. I think all of this that we're coming through is important. All of it. And I'm so thankful for Candace. And I bet you that she will be elected something. Because she's going to stand on the right street corner, just like a beggar would, and say, hey, man, I'm black. Vote for me. They're going to be like, oh, okay. Just like she can walk in to the Supreme Court and say, give me $63,000. Not Supreme Court. You know what I mean? Walk into court and say, give me $63,000. Because someone called me nigger. It's worth $63,000 right now. If you can get someone to call you nigger, you can make $63,000. Is this the message? Is this what we want to tell everybody? And the answer is yes. This is exactly what we want because we believe in Black Fetish Month. And we believe in it so much that we were willing to oust Sodomy Month to have it. In fact, next year, we're going to try a Black Sodomy Month. That's what we're going to try. Next June is going to be a Black Sodomy Month, right? And if there's any white people out there that still feel shame, you can line up and have your shit packed by a Black Lives Matter activist so you can go home and feel better about how compassionate you are because you got stuffed, right? Because that's where we're headed. No, James, we're not. Yeah, we are, dude. We are totally going there. You know why? Because in 74, when they gave you a swine flu and everyone got fucking sick, we ended up with 71 more vaccines after that. Not less, more. And if we're paying politicians $63,000 to start a career off being called an N-word, this is exactly what we're going to have. Next June, Black Sodomy Pride Month. And people are going to walk around with brown ribbons saying, I was sodomized by a black person today, and I feel better. Mark my words, man. You think Gatorade for crops is the end of this? You really think that's where this is going to stop? That once we start putting Gatorade on crops, that's okay, now we've had enough. You're misunderstanding the capacity for the human to hate himself. It is a deep, deep trench. And I fucking love that God gave us such a deep, deep trench to be filled with black pride sodomy. Because if that's what it takes to perfect us, where we can get the fuck out of this kiddie pool surrounded in piss and baby Ruths, I will take it. And I will take every day to face all this bullshit and say, fuck you, my ego's more important to me. Fuck your narrative, fuck your story, fuck everything about your mask, your black pride, your fetish for black, all your lawsuits, your problem with the word nigger, everything about it that you're trying to tell me that I need to be a compassionate person, fuck you. And I have enough ego that I can say that and still have compassion. Still have real compassion. And when I bring that compassion to my friend Scott, who had surgery yesterday, he will know that it came from a dude who fucking savored it, who took every ounce of this compassion and kept it on an altar shelf, right? Like your fireplace mantle, and kept it with pride and never let anything tarnish it. So that when I bring it to you, my compassion is like a frankincense. It's like a myrrh. It's not like this shit, right? It's not like, oh, we got to do something about this. Or, oh, we got to do something about this. We got to do something about this. I'm going to go down and talk to my white friends about all this, because we just got to do something about it. This is crazy. We should go out and vandalize shit. That's what we should do. We should go out and vandalize shit. And maybe someone will give us our black fetish. Maybe we can satisfy that. You're going to lose cities to this. You've already lost cities to this. Some of you guys know that. That's why it's so important to tribe up. They don't want you to tribe up. That's why they tell you all how racist it would be if you tribed up. Have you noticed that black people are have a stronger sense of ego to them? I think what does that to them is the pedestal punishment. I'm not saying that black people don't fall for shit, because my God, they fall for shit. Holy cow, they definitely fall for shit. But they don't fall for the same shit that we do. It's that pedestal mentality. It gives them that edge. They're out on that edge all the time. It makes them stronger. It makes them more what's that word like? I can't think of the right word for that. It's like a thickness of character. I think it's that egoic field. I think it's that egoic field of your heart. Just like, I believe in me, dude. You're fucking nuts. And I'm just here pumping my electrical field. My heart's telling it, this is how far my electrical field is. This is how far it is. This is how far it is. And when you get confident, right? Your heartbeat's still 59 beats per minute, but it's just so much healthier now. That's why when you walk into a room at the DMV or Subway or wherever, you will notice that you naturally give certain people more room than others. I watched a post office happen where a kid in a mask from university, he's like, I'm waiting for Black Lives Matter to come. He was waiting on the corner for someone to leave the room so then he could go in the room and then access the line at the post office. And this other guy without a mask was just like, I don't even think he saw him. He just walked right past him. And he wasn't being rude. That kid had no ego. He had no electrical field. All he had was retina work. All he had was this light retina scaffolding that showed up in the other guy's vision. But the guy was only seeing the retina because his third eye, the perturbation, picked up a very, very weak signal that happened to be harboring inside a shell that looked like a human. It's like a mannequin. The more evacuated the person is, the more you treat them like a mannequin. The less evacuated a person is, the more they're allowed to say the word nigger. Do you see how it works? This is how it works. It's all about that energetic field. It's everything. That's why Freud spent so much effort trying to destroy it. And it wasn't just Freud. It actually was a lot to have to do with what they did with his work. Because this is good stuff. We can use this. This is babies and incubators stuff. This psychology of ego. We could put this in textbooks and do a lot with this. Why were they able to do that? Because there's a market for it. Because we have a market for wanting to think of ourselves less. And here's the kicker. Wow, here's the kicker. The reason why we want to think of ourselves less is because we do not want the responsibility of being sovereign 24/7. If we could convince ourselves that we're too racist to be trusted, we don't have to trust ourselves. We could just say, what the fuck do I know? I'm too racist to figure this out, right? Can't be me. I'm way too racist for that. You can't trust me with that. What is that? Your sovereignty? You can't get me that. What are you, nuts? It's the perfect excuse. It's guys, you'll know this. It's getting in a fight with someone and having a friend that's holding you back. And you're like, oh, if this little 4'9" guy wasn't here, I would totally kick your ass, man. That's what it is. It's our sovereignty saying, thank God someone's here to call me racist. Thank God Dr. Ford's here to tell me that I might rape someone just because. Thank God there's white toxicity, right? It's beautiful. The system we have is beautiful. This is the best apocalypse ever. And I'm watching all of this unfold, and it's just blowing up. That video from Owen yesterday of that jogger who got down on her knees for the Black Lives Matters activist was God. That video was God saying, you see, you can't fool the system, James. You can't fool it. You can't wear your mask and go and get on your knees and pretend like that you've solved this whole compassion thing. No. The only way out of the kiddie pool, my friends, is fucking calories. It's the only way out of the kiddie pool. And we are burning them. We are burning them all around. Thank you so much, Rachel. I can't give you more than the homeless guy. Thank you. Thanks for the super chat. It's very generous. You guys have been very generous. And I appreciate that. It's actually your generosity that I'm just like, it doesn't matter if they demonetize this. It just doesn't matter because I'm covered, man. I can tell you guys that I'm covered. Thanks to you. And let me just give a shout out to my patrons again. They're just, it makes all this possible. Thank you guys so much. For what it's worth, real quick, and I'm not trying to get into a who gets censored more. I know I'm not the most censored guy, but I just want you to know that episode 71, White Lives Matter, has been rated as not suitable for advertising. Episode 70, No Lives Matter, has been rated as not suitable for advertising. Episode 62, Aperture is Not Intelligence, has been rated for no advertising. I Have Ra, episode 61, no advertising. Did Jesus Wear a Mask, episode 65, no advertising. Episode 66, Racism is Germ Theory, no advertising. Again, I'm not complaining. You guys make all this possible. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. The Golden Calf of Israel, no advertising. Believe it or not. It was a good episode. Episode 48, Cuban Country, no advertising. It's not acceptable to advertise on that one either. Number 41, decrypting the self, no advertising. Episode 39, delegation is abandonment, no advertising. I hope this isn't boring. I'm almost done. Episode 28, Corona rising, no advertising. Episode, I didn't have an episode number, but the vampirism of COVID-19 and face masks, no advertising. And I will just add that episode 34, Pranksters of the Apocalypse, no advertising and removed from YouTube as not suitable for viewing. All of these episodes you can find on my BitChute channel, but there's literally like 20 people there that watch my videos, but they are there. So if an episode gets blasted from here, you can find those over there. But all this to say, it's not even complaining. This is me telling you, man, thank you. Thank you guys so much for letting me do this, for making this possible. Thank you, patrons, so much for just rocking it, man. I really, really appreciate it. We had a patron campfire last night. It was really awesome. More to come on that. You said generosity 3 times. And thank you for the super chat. Simon33, you can't handle the truth, 33. He says, you said generosity 3 times. It's, yeah. Thank you, guys. There's another one. Have a fabulous day, all. Let's sign off for today. Let's go out there and do some awesome things with ourselves and with others. And let's see through the blind compassion. Let's realize blind compassion equals blind empathy, which equals slavery. And let's not do that anymore. Oh! Oh! The books came in today. If you ordered my new book, Quantum Rapture, this is a sci-fi tale. It's not like my other books. This is a sci-fi story about transhumanism. It's here now. And if some of you have waited a long time for this, and I'm so sorry it took so long. I've been waiting a long time for this too. And I've got them all here, and I've got a nice big stack. I've printed out all your mailing labels, and I'm going to finish signing them, all of them, and put them in an envelope. And I'm going to drive today to the post office, and I'm going to walk past a little kid in a mask who's going to be like, I was waiting in line. And I'm going to drop him off to the lady who's already heard me tell her that I'm complaining about the plastic in between us, and she agrees. And you guys are going to get your book soon. Thank you for the super chat, Stephen Granger. So, thank you guys. Let's keep making this the best apocalypse ever. If you really need me to wear a hat in the future, just put it in the comments. I will consider that. I seriously will. I'm not here to make your life difficult by looking at my head. It's kind of cool, though. I kind of like it.